maybe you say, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, Satan. Maybe you should say that. And then he was like, all right. He goes, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, Satan. And you fucking started freaking the fuck out. Like screaming and running into the walls and fucking punching himself in the face and scratching his face off. And so I grabbed his fucking arms, right?
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. We have Ed Park here once again, and I am here nice and toasty back from the beautiful island of Hawaii. Nice and golden as fuck.
Nice.
You know what I found out I have?
What's up?
I have a sun allergy.
What?
Yeah. I have a fucking sun allergy, dude.
That sounds like it sucks. I mean, you're not albino.
So check it out. So people get sun allergies when they don't have a lot of exposure to UV rays on a consistent basis. So the UV rays in Hawaii, like specifically a lot of people experience this when they go to tropical islands or places closer to the equator or whatever, because the UV rays are a lot stronger.
Yeah.
You know, LA is covered in pollution. So, you know, I do get sun, but it's different.
Yeah.
Over there, zero pollution, completely just the sun beating down on you.
Damn near the equator.
Yeah, so it's different, right? So when I go out there, I used to think that it was a heat rash, and so essentially what a heat rash is a diaper rash. So you get that from I used to get it a lot when in my swim trunks area or whatever, and I assumed that was a heat rash that I was getting because of the moisture and the friction from the clothes.
Right.
I have a fucking sun allergy, and so I found this out because Tiffany and Casey, they also went to Hawaii with me.
Yeah.
And when we went together, she was like, oh, I have a sun allergy. And I looked at the stuff that she has. She was showing me photos. I'm like, hold on, so that's what I have. I was like, I have the same thing. And I Googled what sun allergies look like. And I'm like, it's the same shit that I have.
Whoa.
And so everywhere that was exposed to sun, that specifically I didn't use a gratuitous amount of sunscreen, that didn't typically get sun, I would break out in rashes and hives. So you could actually see remnants of it here. This was a hive.
See. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a remaining bruise or
exactly.
some shit.
So this was a hive.
Mosquito
these
bite.
were hives. And so my skin right now actually kind of feels rough because the inflammation has died down, and the places that were hived up that was scratching has now dried up. So the only
thought it was like the sand or some shit, salt water.
Yeah, I thought it was like a heat rash because it was in my short area, but it's not from that. It's like when my pants rides up and the sun's beating down on it, it gets burned a little bit. It causes a fucking allergic reaction to the sun, the UV rays.
Wow.
And so the only way that you get rid of a fucking sun allergy is through constant exposure of the fucking sun.
You just have to keep going outside, man.
So I just had to fucking deal with it. So I'm out there, and at night I'm scratching myself like a fucking crackhead. And then I was there for 8 days. On the 7th day, it finally started getting better.
Oh, man. Well, did you enjoy that last day?
The 8th day was great.
Yeah.
You know? It was the day I was on a plane.
Right. But you had a lot to eat too, right?
Exactly. I ate a lot out there. I gained fucking exactly 10 pounds from eating food.
I mean, that's expected. But then you knew it was going to happen, but you were shocked.
I was shocked by the amount of weight. I thought I was going to gain like 5 pounds, 4 pounds. The 10 pounds shocked me the most.
Damn.
But I understand because I was eating like I just got out of like fucking like prison.
Well, for me, like, because I'm like hardcore keto, like crazy man keto. Mm-hmm. When I have my cheat days, it is a crazy fluctuation.
Oh.
Because my body's like, sugar. And it just it takes all that fat and shoots it right back into my hips. As a skinny man, I still get stretch marks on my love handles.
Oh, really?
Because that's where my body wants to store the fat.
That's fucking funny.
So dude, Stevie took me, or my brother-in-law, he took me to fucking M Grill, right? And they have that grilled pineapple.
Yeah.
And yeah, I haven't had fruit in a long fucking time. I'm gonna say a year, bro.
Damn.
You know, like that's how crazy man keto I am. So they give me this roasted pineapple, and when I bit into it, I literally got overwhelmed and I started crying. Like I've abstained from that kind of sugar for so long. Like
that's fucking funny.
It was euphoric. I actually felt the high of sugar.
Really?
Yes. It tingled in my fingers and in my toes. My calves tingled. My ass tingled.
I know what that feels like somewhat because like I've been back from Hawaii about 2 days, right?
Yeah.
First day I didn't eat I didn't really have any processed carbs, just because I know like I've had it for 8 days straight in an absorbent amount, like fried rice, fucking cake, ube pancakes, desserts, drinks, a lot of alcohol. I was living it up.
Yeah.
And so the second day I had a Sen Fushu where we had to eat, it was a fast food thing. I eat all fast food. I bit into a piece of bread and I started smiling. Just for one fucking day without processed carbs. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Which is kind of nuts. Like, it's weird when I think
abstain just a little bit, right?
A lot of people don't know this too. When you, like, I think your body is so advanced that the body can normalize discomfort and pain very well, right? Where we don't know what our body is going through until we go without it.
You're right.
Right? So like with the whole sugar thing, like you don't know how much your body craves these things or how much you feel like you need it.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't realize that, you know, like I said, when we were talking about diarrhea, it's like, oh, it's not every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Salsa is always funny, bro.
Yeah.
It's the Korean dance, the Korean spicy, right?
Yeah.
Salsa, not salsa.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, diarrhea is not every day. I had no clue because I was normalizing these things, you know?
Right.
And then when I find out something small too, it's like, like today too, I've been eating no processed carbs, except for maybe I had like some like Japanese arare crackers, right?
Right.
But other than that, if I do have carbs, it's like from fruits, with a lot of high dietary fiber. And then just clean protein, like I had tilapia, salmon, fish. I like it, it tastes good. But I'm like hungry all the time. Like I'm craving these things.
It's the sugar calling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I had this little jar of M&Ms and it's just like, did you just say my name? You know?
David.
Yeah. It's an old Korean ajumma voice too. David.
초콜릿 먹어. 오늘 어서 초콜릿 먹어.
It's like the sound of a little fucking Korean K-pop star.
Yeah.
나 맛있어.
My name is Candy.
My name is a strawberry. But yeah, I definitely understood like going through these withdrawals, but it was crazy because when I was in Hawaii and I was eating all that food, I knew how bad it was making me feel, and I just kept eating it. I just kept eating it. I was like, this is making me feel terrible.
Right.
But what's for dinner? And I just kept chowing down. And actually, if you want to do keto in Hawaii, it's pretty easy. You know, well, I guess like some of the seafood.
There's so much pork.
There's so much pork.
Yeah.
Like you could just eat Kahlua pork, cabbage out there.
Yeah.
You could have
everything's deep fried.
Yeah, you could have fucking lao lao.
Yeah.
A bunch of shit is deep fried. Fucking spam.
Shit. Yeah, I gotta go. It's been like, it's literally been, it's been 10 years since I've been to Hawaii.
What were you doing in Hawaii the last time? Just vacation?
I was a missionary. You know how it is.
How are you gonna evangelize a bunch of Hawaiians?
That's where the base was, man. That's like it was like I'd make a stop there before I went to Japan once. And that was where the headquarters was for all the missions training, like theology training.
I heard Japan is not a place that they send first missionaries. Like that's the hardest place to go.
It's the hardest.
Why is that?
Because they think you're retarded if you're a Christian. They literally think they think you're something's wrong. Like, yeah, and so
they feel like you're like mentally challenged.
Yeah, you're a fucking outcast of society if you're a Christian. Okay, think about it, dude. Japan, for all we know, it is a free country, right?
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. 9% Christian.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just a cultural thing. Like, so they had that 200-year isolation, right? And the first ones were like the Dutch and Spanish Catholic like missionaries and shit. And whenever they came, they just fucking tortured and murdered them. They brought back crucifixion.
Wow.
They crucified these priests, dude. Yeah, they tortured them. And culturally, it was just like, it's just so antithetical to Japanese philosophy that they saw it as a threat to Japanese way of life, like 200 years ago or so. And so the outcome of that, even though they went relaxed, it was just generally amongst their culture is like, yeah, they're a little, that's why.
Crazy.
Yeah, you have to be crazy to be Christian out there. So it's like, it's a lot of like learning the culture and like proving yourself, showing yourself, and like being there for them, like literally like real relationships with these people.
See, because I never understood that, because I had a roommate in college named Daniel Wu.
Yeah.
And he would do a lot of missionary work.
Yeah.
And he goes like, yeah, so we have to go to easier places first before we go to like some of the more hardcore places when we're missionaries.
Dog,
And he goes,
I went to Iraq and Haiti first before I went to Japan. Yeah, he's right. He's not kidding.
well, that's what I'm saying. I was like, well, where are you going? He goes, I got to go to a Mongolian village.
Yeah.
Hold on. You said it was easy. He goes, yeah, they say like Japan's really hard. But he never explained to me why. I don't think he knew either.
Yeah.
But when he went to Mongolia, this fool said like he threw up every meal because he loved animals or some shit.
Oh,
and this fool had to eat horse.
Yeah, they eat. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. He had to eat horse. He drank horse wine, horse milk, which horse wine is just fermented fucking milk.
Whoa, okay.
It's fermented fucking horse milk.
Mongolian horchata.
Yeah. It's Genghis Khan horchata, dude. That's exactly what he was eating. And he was telling me that Japan is a place that you don't go until you get a couple of missions under your belt first.
Yeah, that's for sure. And like, I was there with like other missionary students in their Tokyo base and shit. And so I was there for the tsunami.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, at that time, like they don't like Christians already. Guess who all the Christians are in Japan? They're all Korean.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of course they are, right? Because like think about it. If we like going to Mexico for mission trips, where do Koreans like going to mission trips?
Oh,
Japan or China or something.
Of course.
Right? Or the Philippines. Like, but big time they go to Japan for the missions and all that. But when the earthquake hit and Fukushima melted down, all them Koreans left.
Oh, for real?
They bounced, dude.
That is the worst thing that you could do.
Yeah. And so like all the pastors, all the Christians like that they fucking bounced after the earthquake because they have a safe space in Korea because of the nuclear threat or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
all the work was undone.
Yeah. And then, so I show up and I'm Korean American, you know, and you know how it is, Korean Japanese beef.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was there under people's homes cleaning up muck and shit. I smelled dead bodies.
That's crazy.
It's real shit. I seen entire valleys. Like if you can imagine, like you're in the Hollywood Hills and you look down, you see LA as a valley, right?
Yeah.
Imagine it being fucking wiped out because a fucking like tsunami just took everything out. I was looking over this valley, it was flat.
Dude, that that tsunami happened, there was like clips of cars trying to outrun the tsunami.
Yeah.
And you know, a car is going like 80, 90, 100 miles an hour and they can't beat it. I'm like, how fucking fast is that wave, dude? And you just see somebody just getting taken out.
So not only that, like imagine this too. Like as I went down to ground zero and I'm looking at just destruction. Fucking everything's gone, right? And flattened out or just crazy. And so it's this valley and then there's a hill straight up. It just goes up and there's a high school at the base of this hill. And apparently that was where the evacuation site is because the tsunami comes. So people go on the top floor, right? But the tsunami brought in all these oil tankers and these ships, containers, and they cracked open and they were on fire. So I'm looking at this high school, it's burnt out, right? I was like, I thought a tsunami came here. Everything looks burnt. Yeah. Like a fire came through. A wall of fire, burning fire on top of the tsunami. So people thought they were safe when they were on top of, there were like hundreds of people on top of this high school. Then a wall of fucking fire came on top.
And they
on top of the water and they burned to death.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Fucking crazy. That's the shit I saw out there, you know? And so me being there ground zero, living, talking amongst people, telling people I'm Korean, you know, and an American too, and I don't even speak Japanese. This Japanese lady that I was with, like, she's like, can I give you a hug? I'm like, okay, right? And we hugged her. She was like, that's the first time I've hugged somebody since I was a baby. I'm like, what?
Wow, what the hell?
She's like, I'm so Japanese. My husband didn't hug me. I don't remember the last time my parents hugged me. The last time I hugged my son when he was an adolescent, you know?
That's crazy.
This is like, this is Japanese, you know?
She's like, I gave birth to my kid by him. He came in his hand and he stuck it inside me. Like, what the fuck?
So she was just saying, she said, I'm so Japanese, but none of us are Japanese, right? She's like trying not to be Japanese around us and gave us hugs.
Wow, that's
tears
crazy.
in her eyes, you know?
How old was she?
Yo, she was in her 70s or 80s when the tsunami hit.
Hello, my friends. Before we continue, you sexy brain farts, let's talk about our lovely sponsor, Magic Spoon. I love cereal, but I do not love the fact that it's probably one of the worst breakfast foods you can have ever. You're sad because I bet you're thinking there isn't a single cereal product on the market that has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Well, say less, you dummy. There's Magic Spoon. Thank me later because you get to go back to being a kid and eating bomb-ass cereal without the sugar crash and guilt. I'm talking about cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter flavored nutritious cereal. So go to magicspoon.com/brain to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code BRAIN at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/brain and use the code BRAIN to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
There was this one lady, old Japanese lady, who fucking held on to her kitchen sink, you know, and waited till someone saved her. This lady luckily has a second floor. Not many Japanese homes do. She was stuck up there for 2 weeks waiting for the water to drain. She survived off who knows what.
What
you know what I'm saying?
Fuck?
Like,
How
I
is that
was
even
ground
possible?
zero, bro. Ground zero. It was fucking crazy. You know?
How long ago was this?
This was 2011, right? When the tsunami hit? Yeah, 2011. The earthquake hit, the tsunami hit, and me and my Christian self felt this calling. Like, I better go. Yeah. So I went.
Did you see any dead bodies?
No, but I definitely smelled them. It was no doubt.
Dude,
the worst.
I smelled the like a dog carcass and I threw up.
Yeah.
It's like, if you have never smelled a living being's carcass rotting, there is no other smell that is like it. It's very distinct.
I was there like a month, so probably 2 weeks after the water subsided. There was a lot of terribles. Those bad smells. It really affects, like, just the thought of the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fucked me up inside, because like when I came back home too, people would be like, yo, how was Japan? Like, I went on a fucking like vacation. I was like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Man.
I was like, I went to a fucking natural disaster site, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, did you meet any hookers?
Did she go to Shibuya? Shinjuku.
Like, when you smell, it's something crazy to the point where I feel that it's genetically, like, in our DNA, that when we smell it triggers something really bad.
To be revolted that this is bad, this is not right.
It's like, because I was walking around in Long Beach, and I was visiting my best friend Gabo was here, and then we were visiting his sister. See how she's doing, see if she's okay out there. And then, well, first of all, this fool got fucking no fucking smell at all, because he smelled that he was fine. I smelled that, and then I felt this electricity surge through my
it's like your
body.
hair stood
My
up.
hair stood up, right?
Yeah.
And then I started gagging. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I look into a bush, and there was like a dead pit bull, like rotting. And that was the smell of a rotting carcass. And it's crazy how my body reacted. It was such a revolting thing to smell. Like, my body just exploded. Like, every sense in my body, my pores all opened up. Like, what the fuck get the fuck out of here.
But there's no other smell like I could ever equate it to,
Yeah.
except dead body smell. It's
Like,
just,
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this world that smells like that.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking bad.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know you went there after the tsunami. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was one of those things, man, when I was a crazy man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm saving all my crazy for my diet, you know?
Yeah.
But my crazy man shit was, going to Iraq, going to Haiti after the earthquake. And I went there twice. Second time, I went like months later, the same year. It was still a fucking mess. I believe to this day, it was in the middle of the cholera outbreak. It was fucking wild. Like,
That's how it is. Like, you know, when during the whole Kanye West, Bush hates black people.
yes, that was
Like New Orleans, right?
yeah.
You go out there. So when I was out in New Orleans and I was talking to the Uber driver, I was like, yo, like New Orleans kind of came back from the disaster. They're like, oh, sweetie, that's not, you're only seeing the part that the city chose to rebuild.
Yeah.
It was like everywhere else here, people's houses are still destroyed. It's been 5-6 years. Like the government still hasn't helped. Like our homes are destroyed. Like I'm working out in the city right now, but if I take you out, 20 miles out, I'll show you how bad it is still. And this is supposed to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world, right? We're supposed to be the rich, wealthy country, and our government still hasn't fixed those homes out in New Orleans that was hit by a fucking disaster.
I mean, look at Flint too. How long have they had terrible bad pipes?
They still have bad water.
Yeah, dude.
Which doesn't make any sense at all. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
There's just a lot of forgotten people. Like, I saw it in myself too, like about, because I had to check myself as to me going out to these other nations. I benefited so much from that personally in my personal growth and whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, people here suffer. People here suffer. And I had to really question like how I affect my community.
Yeah.
And how much I care from there too. There's a lot of it was a big epic journey, I think, a lot of growth.
I don't think I could have ever done the missionary work that you did. I didn't have the balls to do shit like that.
It's because I was crazy, bro. I was literally being like, this is what the Bible says. It's like, in my head, I'm reading it like, if Jesus is real, right?
Yeah.
And he was here in this moment with you. And oh my God, he revealed himself, right? And oh my God, a cloud is taking up to heaven, right? He's like, bye, I gotta go, right? And Jesus is leaving, he's ascending. And you're like, Jesus, wait, before you go, what's the last thing you want to tell us? What's he say? Go into the world and make disciples. So I'm like, okay, what does that mean? These personal relationships, deep discipleship, like accountability and your integrity, all these things like that go with it, Yeah. And then to go into the world, go out there, leave your home, and not only that, sell your stuff, blah, blah. I went deep end.
You know what's crazy? There was actually, I remember a moment where somebody almost ruined my Christianity based on something that they told me that was supposed to uplift me.
Okay, what'd they say?
I was out going into those, what do you call it? Not mission trips, but when you go out with a group of the church and you go and rent out a cabin and you do all praise and worship. What do you call it?
Like a retreat.
Retreat.
Yeah.
So we went on a retreat, right? And there's this dude named Hans. I look up the Hans a lot. I heard
it's a Korean guy?
Yeah, it's a Korean guy with a fucking German name.
Okay.
His name is Hans, right? Dude is super dope, right? I think he's still Christian. I don't know. But this dude was telling the story about how he was possessed by a demon. Right.
Okay.
And he was talking about this, like it happened to him the night before while we were sleeping. Yeah. And he woke up in a fervor screaming. And we're like, what happened? And the next day he was describing this moment. He goes, I had a dream that when I was in the cabin, there was 2 demons that came down and I was staring at them, telling them to leave me alone. One of them came down, grabbed my chest and ripped the spirit out of my body. And they were dragging me to hell. And these 2 demons were dragging me. I was screaming, asking God to help me. And I couldn't do anything. I just see my lifeless body laying in bed as I'm sinking down into the floor and I'm going into the depths of hell.
Yeah.
And then he just kept saying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over until he snapped out of it and he came back and he was back into his body and he woke up. Right. And I'm young. He's telling this story. I'm scared shitless. I'm in the same fucking cabin with this guy. Right.
Right.
And so this dude Hans tries to comfort me by saying this phrase. He goes, listen, Satan only attacks those who have really strong faith. and I told him
to be a sinner.
That's what I said to myself. I was like, I am not Christian anymore.
Dude, I heard that one too.
I was like, why would you tell me that? Now I'm going to go jack off and do crazy things. Because if he's going, I was like trying to find a way to teeter between being a sinner and believing in God. You know? So it's like, I'm not strong enough where Satan will attack me. Like, what the fuck? Why would you say that to me, dude?
Yeah, I mean, like those things though, like in those missions training, they teach you on, it's called Spiritual Warfare Week, right? And they have all kinds of stories of demonic, like oppression, right? Or even possession. And the way they tell these stories get pretty wild. Like I told you those Smith Wigglesworth stories, you know, where, you know, he punched a guy in the stomach and his tumor flew out his back. He kicked a fucking dead baby and it came back to life. You know, there's these crazy stories they believe in. But there was even a time when I was youth leader at our church retreat, right? And you know, it's the last night and we all have ramyeon and we play like mafia and stuff, right? And then all church retreats. And then this kid comes back from his run and he's just pale and he's scared. He's like, Edward teacher, can you pray for me? Can you pray for me? I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, there are demons chasing me. I see a demon. There's a demon right there, like in the trees. He's staring at us. Can we go inside? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm all right. And this kid's like 17 years old. I take him into the room and he's just sweating and pale. He's like, can you close those blinds? There's a demon staring at us right now. He's right there. He's staring at us. All right. And I don't know what the fuck to do, right? I'm just youth group leader. Yeah. So I'm like, well, then, you know, let's pray, you know, hold his hands, you know, in the power of Jesus' name, you know, Satan, we going to ask you to go away. And I'm just like, well, I hope you feel better. You know, I have no idea what the fuck to do, right? And it's late at night now. And he's a senior, and we have this rule where we give seniors their own room and we let them stay up all night. And I do the room checks to make sure everyone's asleep. And I go into the senior room and all of his friends are like gathered around him and he's still freaking the fuck out, right? Like, Edward teacher, come here, pray for him, right? He's like, they won't stop, man. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
What the fuck?
He's freaking out. So he's like, Edward teacher, will you go in the bathroom with me? I have to pee, but I can't be alone. And I'm like, okay. I went in the bathroom with this guy. He's like, watch me pee, Hyung. I'm like, all right. And this guy was scared to fucking death. He's seeing shit. Literally seeing shit. I'm seeing this happen before me too. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I think about the most biblical youth group thing I can, right? Hey guys, let's get in a circle and hold hands, right? Yeah. And let's pray for him, right? And whatever, popcorn prayer, they do that shit. And I'm like, and I have it in my head. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe you say, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, Satan. Maybe you should say that. And then he was like, all right. He goes, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, Satan. And he fucking started freaking the fuck out. Like screaming and running into the walls and fucking punching himself in the face and scratching his face off. And so I grabbed his fucking arms, right? And this kid started having fucking superhuman strength and like curling me shit. Dude, I'm trying to keep his arm down. I'm telling all the other kids, grab his arms. And we're wrestling this kid. And he's like, I can't open my eyes. He won't open his eyes, right? It's a face. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking the fuck out. And then slowly, one by one, other teachers came in because they thought we were wrestling and fighting this guy, right?
Yeah, come on.
What's going on? And they saw that we were just praying for him, and he was just like, and so all the other teachers came down to try to pray for him. And then like I heard one story, one of the other seniors, because he's a fucking weirdo oppa. He goes into the 7th grade girls' room, and then he opens the door. And they're like, what's going on up there, right? It's who's fighting? And he goes, so-and-so is demon possessed. Pray for him. and closes the door on him and just freaks out all these fucking 7th grade girls.
Why the fuck would he do that?
So apparently these little girls
fucking funny.
did not sleep all night.
Yeah, how the fuck would they?
And they just hear us boom, 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 wrestling upstairs, right? And like, just fucking trying to pray for this kid. I don't know if you know anything about tongues.
Oh, yes, praying in tongues and shit? Yeah.
I went off. I just went off on tongues.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it comes about. It just fucking,
Yeah.
it just came out. And until the fucking pastors finally showed up, and then he just kind of like chilled out, right? And then they were with him for like 10 minutes or whatever. And they came out and they're like, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was okay. He was fucking okay. And it's like, oh, sorry, guys. And then they went to bed. The next morning, he was like, thank you, Edward Young. Like, thank you, like, for taking care of me. Like, you were there for me, right? And so this guy's half white, half Korean,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he goes, you know, when you were praying in tongue, I understood everything you said.
What the fuck?
So what? And he goes, because he's half white, half Korean.
Mm-hmm.
His mom's Korean, doesn't speak a lick of fucking English.
Yeah.
She speaks to him in Korean, and he can't speak Korean, but he understands it. He speaks back to her in English.
Yeah.
He said it's like that. I can't speak it, but I knew what you were saying. I was like, what the fuck?
What did he say you were saying?
I don't know. Like I said, I can't speak it, like, but I knew what you were saying.
Yeah.
What he said. And then I was just like, holy fucking shit, like this demonic shit is real, right? All right, fast forward 10 years later, hanging out with some tongsaengs. We're out. They're like, oh yeah, he smoked a huge blunt. He was blasted.
Oh my God.
Dude, he was wrecked, dude.
This fucker, dude. This motherfucker, dude. So he essentially was going through what I was going through.
Yes! He thought he was gonna die.
Where I thought I was gonna fucking die. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
Dude, your whole life you're like,
Oh
dude, I
my
had this
God.
moment where I spoke tongue and then like, no, this was blasted. It's like, yeah, shiba. You know what I mean? That's fucking funny, dude. He was essentially going what I was going through,
Yes.
but I had you there to tell me like, hey, nobody died from this. Just relax.
Oh yeah. If today me there was there too, and he told me I'm super high young, I would have been like, yeah, relax.
Yeah. Yes.
Instead, I'm praying for him against the forces of Satan.
Yeah. I would have just started socking him in the face. Like, hey, calm the fuck down, dude. That's hilarious, dude.
Oh my God.
That's so fucking funny, man. Like, I can't even, because I know what that feels like. The whole thing where I feel like my body is a literal outer body experience where I'm just observing myself going, dude, you're dead.
Do you think that leader was probably high too?
100%, dude. Fucking high as fuck, dude. He had to be. He's just like, he goes, I'm high and he's high, but I'm not gonna let anybody know this. But all those retreats, though, everybody was doing crazy shit, man.
Yeah, it was like you're away from home, but like, I don't know, somebody was hooking up.
Dude, man, I because I'm recently on Facebook again, only because I'm on Marketplace just to buy things and sell things like camera gear and stuff. I get to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a very long time. And there's one specific girl that I remember because, well, first of all, I did something kind of fucked up to her where it was like, you know, when we have these lockdowns where you're at church and you can spend the night at church with a bunch of leaders, you guys pray together and everything else.
Pong.
Well, every now and then somebody would tell a scary story.
Right.
And so she got freaked out and she goes, hey, like, can you walk me to the bathroom and then just wait outside and then just wait for me there until I'm done, right? Please. I was like, okay, cool. So she goes to the bathroom. I'm like, are you in there? She goes, yeah. And I shut off the lights.
Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary.
And you just hear her go, ah! Right? And I turn it back on. I keep flickering the lights on and off, on and off. Fucking hated my guts, dude. She fucking hate. Here's the worst part, right? So she gets out and she's pissed. She tries to chase me down. I have because I went to go, while she was doing that, I went to go, after I shut it off, I just went inside the men's bathroom just to wash my hair. And I'm hearing her screaming. I'm cracking the fuck up. I'm an asshole. I come back out. She's fuming mad, right? She tries chasing me down. Instinctually, what I do, I take my towel and I whip it at her, and I fucking whip her in the eyeball.
Oh no.
Dog.
Dude.
The worst thing I could ever do. And she's just sitting there screaming in the bathroom. Comes out. I hit her in the eyeball. She's like, ah!
Oh, no.
And now I'm mortified. I'm like, this is, it was
shit.
supposed to be a simple prank and it just got fucking out of hand. Well, and long story short about this girl, right? And I see her with this photo, and it's always a weird experience when I see somebody in the future who I know is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And they have a family. Right? Because I know who they are prior to this family. And I'm thinking like, yo, how does she dupe this guy into marrying her? Because she's fucking nuts. Let me explain to you the story, right? So she used to go out with this other dude at a different church, right? In Sacramento, there's a few churches. There's SKPC, Sacramento Korean Presbyterian Church.
Yeah.
I think there's one called Zion, of course.
Yeah.
There's there's SKBC, the Baptist church.
Right.
And there was also one called I think it was called Ark or something like that. But that's the one I used to go to intermittently. She was dating somebody else from another church.
Yeah.
He came to our church later on. His family moved churches to ours. They started dating, right? This guy I fucking hated. He was like a little racist fuck. He always said some racist shit about Vietnamese people, black people. I fucking hated this dude. And of course he would go to fucking church of all places. But one day he comes to church and he has like gashes all over his face, his neck, and all this other stuff. And we're like, bro, what the fuck happened to you? And he tells us that this girl, he broke up with her the night before and she wouldn't accept the breakup. Like, I didn't know that you could do that. Like, hey, we're broken up. I don't think so. And then she's like, we're not broken up. He goes like, no, we're done. And so he breaks up with her, goes to his house, right? Or he hangs out with a bunch of friends and at night he comes back to his house.
Yeah.
Well, he comes back to his house, his window's open. She snuck into his room and she was waiting with him with a fucking knife. And she's like, we're not breaking up. You're not fucking leaving me. And she starts coming at him with a knife and starts trying to slash him.
Oh my God.
Right. So that night before he got caught up, he like fucking shoved her to the wall. He told her he shoved her and he ran out of his house and he shoved her pretty fucking hard. So she was like down and she started crying on the floor or whatever. And then came back and then she like was crying and then he kind of took the knife away from her and she was bawling her eyes out and then she just left. But she fucking tried to stab this dude like with a knife, like cutting him with this fucking knife. I don't know what type of knife it was, but she was coming at him to the point where he had gashes all over his body. And then I see this picture of her married to a guy with a kid.
I completely forgot that's where the story started. I'm like utterly shocked.
Fast forward fucking 15 years and I'm like, who the fuck married this girl?
Oh, wow.
And now I want to know the pieces. It's like, and then I start thinking to myself like, yo, does he know that she's a fucking psychopath? That she tried to fucking kill somebody because they broke up with her? Like, does he fucking know? And I see she has a kid and she's with a man. So Facebook is weird, man. It takes me into this weird space.
I mean, at the same time, it could also be a little predictive. Like you see the people who fall into the MLM schemes. They sell that shit on Facebook. But they're always the same people, like single Christian women who are who are hoping to be somebody's harmony.
Yeah.
Those are the types all the time.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting too? I keep like, listen, I want to say a majority of Christian people that I meet, they're really, really sweet people. But the crazies are fucking crazy, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be real.
Yeah,
or else
real.
why do I exist, right?
Yeah.
That's why I went to fucking all right. It's got to be real.
Like the lady who took my dog hostage. She was a Christian lady, right? And listen, like I said, in her hearts of hearts, she thought she was doing something right. But she's like, so this past Christmas, right, after that whole thing, she found out I did a video on it. I didn't say her name. I didn't do any of that type of stuff because I want to keep the and like I want her to be anonymous. But somebody saw that video, like her daughter, and sent it to her. Was like, hey, did this happen or whatever? So she, messaged Mariel and called her, apologizing, saying like, hey, I didn't mean to come off that way or whatever. I was like, yeah, but you literally said you weren't going to give our dog back unless we went to you with the pound and got her chipped, and if not, I can't have her back. Which, by the way, like every vet told me to call the cops on her. Yeah, they're like, that's illegal. You need to call the cops. That's what they said. Like they're literally holding like your kid hostage. She cannot do that. Right. And so I was like, oh, you're right. I didn't even think about it like that. I just wanted my dog back. But this past Christmas, she messaged Mariel, "Merry Christmas." Like, bitch, we don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? She's like, we're friends.
Yeah, this entitlement. Remember me? I saved your dog.
No. You kept her hostage and you made me feel like a piece of shit because our dog ran away. Like, you fucking asshole, you know?
I mean, it's one of those things too. Like, if you still go to church today, like, you find out like half these motherfuckers believe in like conspiracy theories and shit too.
Yeah.
It's like, man, how do you believe in God and this crazy shit at the same time?
Yeah, I don't get. Well, that's what Facebook too is the worst for old people.
Oh yeah,
It's their version of Twitter.
yeah, dude. It's there's a whole subreddit I like going to. It's called Insane People Facebook and Old People Facebook. It's just like there's so much content coming out of crazy old people.
They have so much shit to say.
Yeah. And they seem to think that the world works this way, like around their bubble.
Dude, like it only reminded me, and these people aren't really my friends, they're like acquaintances that I know, right?
Yeah.
Somebody posted this meme about the COVID vaccine. And I'm like, well, let's read this, right? And they were trying to make a point about how stupid the vaccine is. And they go, imagine not getting sick from something and then getting a vaccine and getting sick from it. And he wrote, LOL, people are so dumb. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life. And there are people who thumbs up and like that comment. And I was baffled, right? And then somebody did our job and they wrote from, they're like, hey, dumbass. They're like, I was like,
you know, this shit works.
I was like, aren't you a fucking personal trainer? Do you work out because you have a heart attack now, or do you do it to prevent it?
Right.
Right. And the guy was like, you're a fucking sheep. He's like, you didn't even answer the question.
Yeah.
Like, do you work out because it's preventative so you don't get sick in the future so you stay healthy? Right?
Yeah, dude. Like,
why do you take vitamins?
Facebook breeds those kind of conflicts.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Facebook, is because they don't actually offer anything to society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I stay on Facebook because you and I, we're damn near on the cusp of Gen X.
Yeah.
All of our friends have kids.
Yeah.
They have families, and that's how we connect and stay connected.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Instagram for us is more or less just expressing random bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, I try to stay connected on Facebook, but these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, they love fighting and arguing all the time. And then when they
virtue signaling and woke theology, and then on the other side, crazy anti-science and bullshit Christian prophecies.
And it's crazy too, because they're having arguments with people that are supposedly their friends, when they could meet up and just talk about it. But they'll argue on Facebook. It's like, bro, don't they live right around the corner from you?
Just call them, bro. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Go over a beer.
Because it's easier just to make point for point and make it a spectacle.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's such an odd thing. Like, Facebook is pretty bad, man. I had no idea.
It contributes nothing to our souls and to humanity and to society. I'm constantly on the cusp of, why am I still on here?
Yeah.
But it's just, there's a lot of friends. Yeah, I don't post much.
Twitter is the worst, dude.
Really? It's worse than
Twitter's 10 times worse than Facebook, man.
Why so?
Just because there's like, did I tell you I almost got canceled?
A little. I saw what was happening.
Yeah, and so like I
gave a little Korean language lesson.
Yeah, it was so fucking ridiculous, because people were trying to cancel me on Twitter over a sketch where I said a Korean word, right?
Right.
And obviously the joke is that it sounds a lot like the N word, and
right.
the joke that we were making is how people don't understand that there's different languages. It means different things. It happens a lot. It's based off of something that happened with my best friend. So I was at the beauty supply store with my mom, and she said "niga," like "niga," and he was like, "What's your mom saying?" as a joke, and we were cracking up, fucking laughing, right? And I was like, "Oh, that would be a funny little vine for Batch," you know.
Right.
And so like Batch did this this vine about, I'm coming in. And I goes, "Oh, hi." I was like, "Diga yogi anja." That means you sit over here, right? And he was like, "What'd you say?" I was like, "Diga yogi anja." He goes, "Excuse me?" And he goes, I was like, "Oh," he's like, "I'm telling you it's Korean." He goes, "Oh, I get it." I was like, it's like, "Niga, sit your ass down." Like, you sit your ass down, right? So I'm not saying the N word. That's the joke. Millions of people understood
every
it.
Korean American growing up, knew that bottom line joke we're not gonna say out loud. And like, but Vine, and with like King Batch and all that was like, you guys were doing a series of fucking Rush Hour 4 like skits and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was an extension of that. Here's the fucking worst part. And this is where I was like, it's an example of these young kids trying to virtue signal so fucking hard. So after I wrote my defense, people started going back and started bashing this person, right? And that person wrote at the end of it, he goes, oh, I actually don't even really care. When what they wrote was like, can you believe that this stuff on Vine is acceptable? It makes me literally sick to my stomach.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
And at the end of it, because this person started getting heat, they're like, I don't even care that much. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is an example of why virtue signaling is trash. I hope this generation understands why doing that makes you look like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
You do not care about society. You do not care about what's happening to people. You only care about how you look to other people.
Right.
That's why I don't give a fuck about your activism, because of people like that. And people are like, oh, don't let the one bad seed. No, that's more than one bad seed. A majority of you people are like that. You speak up only because it makes you look good, not because you're trying to make a difference.
It's the only place they have a voice too, right? Where they have a chance of getting hundreds or if not thousands of retweets, right? Or hundreds of thousands of likes, depending on how well you do your hashtags.
Yeah.
Or some shit, especially if it requires a hashtag.
Because
like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like the funny thing is too, it's like I've been doing this shit for years, even before it was cool, you know?
This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. If you haven't focused on your mental health this year, now is the time to start. Listen, we all been cooped up tense, and honestly, we know the importance of our mental health, so let's stop pushing our thoughts, emotions, and feelings aside and get the help we need. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You don't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room, and you can message your counselor at any time while setting up weekly video phone sessions. It's super convenient, and more importantly, it allows you to be comfortable and safe in your own environment. Listen, I've used BetterHelp, and it was honestly amazing, and the experience till this day has been super beneficial for me. I still talk to my counselor till this day, and you have nothing to lose, so give it a try. So remember, this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Genius Brain listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius.
And I was compelled to say something at all, and I just kind of took the heat. I'm not trying to put myself on a crucifix or anything else like that. But if you really did care, where the fuck were you before?
Right.
You had years to do this.
Right.
You've been doing this damn near for like 12 years now in my stand-up comedy, my jokes, my videos. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I've always felt these feelings. No, you didn't. You absolutely did not.
Somebody told you you're supposed to feel these feelings.
Exactly. You didn't feel that way. And that's also okay.
It's like, why else would you feel this way unless someone told you what you don't know and they made you feel shitty. And now you fucking project that shit, pass it on to someone. Don't you know it's bad? Like,
and now you're doing it to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really weird, man. That whole situation was like, I can't believe somebody tried to cancel me over something that's not even cancel worthy. Like, this is the dumbest fucking thing.
And your vacation came at the perfect time then.
Yeah. Dude, let me tell you what happened prior to vacation, dude.
Yeah.
I already knew that I was out to lunch. I told you this before. I did a whole podcast with like Nick and Pat. I didn't record any of the audio. I didn't record the video. You already know I'm out to fucking lunch, dude. So that the day before that, fucking hell, it's a very weird situation. So I'm driving out of the old office, right? I still have stuff there. I still have it for another month. And so I'm driving out and I'm peeking out of the parking lot, you know, peeking my car out. And you see this homeless lady with a cart. She looks fucking deranged, right? Sunburnt, fucking beanie, everything. It's like 80 degrees outside. She looks and I just hear her screaming at me like fucking irritated. I think it's because I'm picking my car out. She goes around it and fucking kicks my truck.
Oh shit.
Boom, kicks it. I'm like, what the fuck, right? And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm in my car. I do a U-turn. I turn around and I see this lady. And you know what she does to me? She gives me the fuck you. Yeah. And she jacks off her imaginary dick and throws it on my face. She goes, and she does the fucking b-boy move where she jacks off her dick and throws it on my face. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is happening right now, right? And I go back, I look at my car, there's no damage. And the only thing I could think of is this was, okay, how do I win in this situation?
Yeah.
1, am I yelling at a lady? 2, am I yelling at a homeless person?
Yeah.
3, do I beat a homeless person's ass?
Right.
Where do I win?
Right.
I just have to take it. This lady is still jacking off with her dick and throwing it in my face.
Yeah.
bow, bow. And I'm just sitting here, dude, the worst. And you know what happened to me the day before that? This is when I knew I needed this vacation. Yeah. This is why I was just out. I'm like, I'm fucking done. Yeah. Day before, right? So this person, I'm trying to get into their lane, and this person stops midway, slows down. I'm assuming they're allowing me to come in. But it turns out that they were just on their phone and they didn't know, and they were slowing down. And so I was like, oh, cool. Well, I'll just go in. And I went in. This person wasn't paying attention. And looks up and he slams his brakes because he didn't see me because he was texting on his phone. Right. And I just gave him a wave saying, thank you for letting me in. I was like, thanks, like that. Person speeds up, goes next to my car, tells me to roll down my window. He goes, fuck you. I'm going to say the word that they called me. He called me a faggot. He goes, fuck you, faggot. And I'm like, yo, what the and I'm like, what? Why is he cursing at me, right? Like, said thank you, right? And I'm like, what's up? He goes, give me the fucking middle finger, you fucking bitch. And I was like, I gave you a thank you wave. And I go, bro, I was saying thank you for letting me in. He goes, oh, all right then, my bad. He just fucking jets off because he's embarrassed. He goes, oh shit. And he just jets off. I'm like, dog, what
you need a fucking vacation.
Fuck LA, man. Yeah. Like, out of everything that could happen, I literally waved him, hey, thanks for letting me in. And he saw a middle finger.
Dude, I've had one of those nights too in K-Town. Mm-hmm. It was just a long night, working all night. I'm coming home. And I guess I was swerving. I wasn't drinking or nothing. I was just fucking tired. And I'm just minding my business. And at a red light, this black S-Class pulls up. And the window rolls down, and it's this Korean dude, but he looks like a fucking gangster. Mm-hmm. He's tatted up all across. He's wearing a basketball jersey. He goes, hey. I roll down my window. I'm like, yeah? He goes, you know you're driving like a fucking retard? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just really tired. And then his girlfriend in the seat went, oh. And then he went, all right then, all right. And then he let me be. He left me alone. I was like, okay.
Babe, you're such a dick. Like, look at him. He's sad. He's going to fucking yell at him. Babe, are you out of your fucking mind?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
That's hilarious, dude.
Some people just kind of that's that LA road rage too, though, man. Yeah. It's like it's like no other I can even think of. The aggressiveness and the fucking like that offensive type driving where they're just gonna get you back for some shit you didn't even know you did.
Yeah. Like I didn't have road rage until I came to the city.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I came here.
I used to sit in traffic for 2 hours in Washington from Seattle to Tacoma every weekend.
Mariel saw my road rage for the first time, and she was so disappointed. Like, she was so upset at me. And this is like our first
tisk.
This is like us being together like officially for 2 months, and we were going to we were going back from the museum, and we had a date, and my mom was on the phone, right? And I was talking to her in the car with Mariel in the car as well. And then I'm driving, and there's this car. It's a Bentley, I think. I can't remember. I think it was a Bentley. It's a really expensive car. And I'm driving, and this guy fucking almost pushes me off the road, right? And so like literally almost veers me off and kills me. I'm like, oh shit, right? Because the guy wasn't paying attention and was driving like a fucking asshole. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not sure if I told this part, so I'm not the only one pissed at him because he was like fucking driving like a nutbag, right? And everybody was honking. I was like, man, fuck you. And I just gave him the finger like this. He sees it through my window. This time I really did give the finger. Yeah. Like, fuck you, right? Because the guy almost kills me. I drive by. And at this point, I was already having a terrible week. There's a few other stuff that happened this week. This is actually the same week. No, it's not. It's a different week. But I'm driving, and then he comes down, tells me to roll down my window. Right? He goes, it's doing this. I don't know what the fuck.
Everybody fucking does that in LA. They want to say something.
They want to say some shit. So he's telling me to roll down the window, and this is Mariel's in the seat next to me, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I roll down the window. He goes, roll down the fucking window, right? And he just starts like going off on me. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I couldn't process what was going on. It's like normalcy bias. Right. You don't know what's going on. And I think he kind of thought because he's looking at me, I'm a little dweeb or whatever. And then I turned to him. I'm like, the fuck you say to me, you bitch made motherfucker? And I start going off, right? And the dude is like shocked, like, yo, what the fuck? And I said, slow the fuck down, pull over so I can fuck you up. So I slam my fucking brakes and I get behind him, right? And I'm screaming at him like, pull the fuck over. over, right? And we're not going that fast on the freeway because it's kind of trafficy. And then Mariel is just like, what the fuck is going on? And the dude is trying to dodge me. So I'm chasing after him. I roll up.
Oh, shit.
I'm chasing after him. And I roll up next to him because, cars are kind of getting in the way. I roll up. The window's still down. I was like, let's fucking go. Hurry the fuck. Pull the fuck over. And I'm waiting for him to come over. And this guy finally ditches me by cutting off into another freeway and he leaves. And then Mariel looks at me like just disappointed.
Yeah.
And I think she was a little scared because she hasn't seen some shit like that before. But this is pretty typical, right? I'm fucking fuming. And I forgot I was talking to my mom on the phone. And then my mom just goes, you go ga. I'm like, shit. And then she just calm as fuck, just disappointed in me, just lecturing me.
Shit.
And I felt
on the Bluetooth speaker.
On the Bluetooth speaker, dude.
On your first few dates.
Exactly. And then my mom starts lecturing me about my behavior and how I have a terrible temper. She goes, remember when you were younger, you used to get in fights all the time. I thought you were better than this. Like, I thought you don't get into fights anymore. Like, she started going to this whole like guilt trip of all the shit that I had to put her through, because of like my violent behaviors and getting kicked out of school. And I just sat there and then Mariel looked at me. And that was actually the first time Mariel looked at me. She wanted to break up with me.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was early on in a relationship. She goes, do I want to be with somebody who behaves like this?
It's like, Oma, shh. You're on speaker right now.
She didn't even know Mariel was next.
Yeah, remember the time you stabbed that guy in the face with a pencil?
I'm like, Oma, shut the fuck
don't say
up.
that. Don't say that part.
I'm like, stop. But Mariel had a moment where she thought she was going to break up with me because she was disappointed in how I handled that situation. Right. But I used to have a really short temper.
But let me be on your side for a second.
Yeah.
Haven't you noticed that every time you reciprocated, they always fucking back down?
Yeah.
Anyone that has let me just say road rage, like in LA, when you reciprocate, they don't think you're going to say anything back.
Yeah.
Every time I run into that, and man, if you're in LA, you understand it happens all the fucking time. Some motherfucker wants you to roll down your window, and I roll it down, and I do the Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And I start smiling.
Yeah.
And I start like, and I start patronizing them. Either that or I'm just like, yeah, let me have it.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of run out of things to say.
Yeah, they don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
It's like, what were you going to do?
They weren't going to do nothing.
And in that case, too, he was surprised. I was literally telling him to pull over on the freeway so we could duke it out. It's like, let's fucking go.
That's short-sightedness. Where'd you think this was going to go? This motherfucker, is in LA. There is a fucking high probability of all these events constantly happening. You don't know who the fuck you're gonna run into, dude.
Let me tell you this one time though, where I didn't gamble well. So there's this car that fucking cut me off and almost veered me off too. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck, right? And I have my window down already, right?
Yeah.
This car hits its brakes on the freeway, slows down. It's just a bunch of cholos in the car. Fucking tatted up on the face and everything. Like, they're like, what's up, fool? I was like, my bad, bro. I just wanted to apologize.
Yesterday Korea, today America.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Yeah. I am so sorry. You know Jesus Christ? No, but these dudes were like literally hanging out the fucking window, like, what's up? What's up? And I'm like, yo, I just said, my bad, y'all. And they were still fucking flashing gang signs at me until they fucking left. And I was like, damn, I could have died.
You don't want none of that shit.
I don't want none of that shit. Fucking 5 dudes like packed into a fucking like Honda Accord. I'm like, let me tell you something. Anybody that's bold enough to threaten somebody in a beater like that, they don't give a fuck about my life.
Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah, that shit was fucking scary, dude.
Yeah. And that was the only time for me was just the K-Town thug who was, that's why I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
Just let me empathize with your girlfriend.
I would have just pulled something quick out of the car. It's like, I go to church with your mom. It's like, really? You go to Young Knock?
Yeah, everybody's mom goes to Young Knock.
Yeah. You go to Young Knock? It's like, yeah, your mom talks about you a lot. Hey, don't tell her I was here. And he just veers off the fucking road. Oh shit. That was already an hour.
Whoa.
Oh,
we were supposed to do a movie review. All right, well, we'll talk about it again.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this podcast very much. You could find Ed at Ed Park VP, also has a podcast.
Yep. Bible study at Momo's. I also have a keto page that I don't give a fuck about.
Oh, okay. What's the keto
Keto
page?
합시다.
Okay.
Keto 합시다.
Yeah, check out his keto page if you guys are interested in trying keto. And Genius Brains every Thursdays and Sundays. And we will see you all next time.
Peace.
Bye.